right, this is lesson 7.2, which is the first lesson of factoring trinomials into two binomials. So quick recap of some vocab before we actually talk about it. A linear expression, it's a first degree expression. Please remember that first degree expression is referring to the highest exponent. Meaning that the highest exponent, meaning that the highest exponent in this expression is 1. So an example of that would be like 4x plus 2. Because the highest exponent is 1. All right. So then a quadratic expression is a second degree expression, meaning that the highest exponent is 2. So for example, x squared plus 4x plus 2. The highest exponent is 2. That's what makes it a quadratic. And so the key about all this is that the standard form of a quadratic, it's a second degree trinomial with coefficients and constants a, b, and c. It's in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. That is the standard form of a quadratic, where a is the coefficient of x squared. See how it's a times x squared? B is the coefficient of x. So this is b times x, so it's the coefficient. And c is the constant. It's a thing that's just by itself. And so one more thing is that the instructions, if it says factor, what that means is to write an expression that's a product of its factors. So for example, if I was asked to factor 2x plus 10, we'd factor out the GCF, but then we'd also write what's left. 2 times x plus 5. So looking at what this means, how do I factor a trinomial that doesn't have a GCF? So we're going to go through a little investigation. We're going to simplify the binomials. Binomials times the binomials that are in the form x plus m times the quantity x plus n. So in this case, m is 3 and n is 4. Then we might FOIL plus 4x plus 3x plus 12. Combine like terms, and we get x squared plus 7x plus 12. So if we look back at our standard form of a quadratic, remember a, b, and c. So a is the coefficient of x. B is the coefficient, b is the coefficient of x. And c is the constant. So a is 1, b is 7, c is 12. Okay? Let's do the next one. This will be x squared plus 2x plus 7x plus 14, which is x squared plus 9x plus 14. A is 1, b is the coefficient of x, which is 9, c is the constant, which is 14. And I forgot to fill out m is 7 and n is 2. And so here are the questions, the lingering questions. How does b relate to m and n? So how does this relate to these? Well, I know that 3 plus 4 is 7. So 3 plus 4 is 7. Or we could say you add m and n to give you b. How does c relate to m and n? So here's c. How does 12 relate to 3 and 4? Well, I know 3 times 4 is 12. Is that true down here? 7 times 2 is 14. So how does it relate? M times n will give us c. Let's double check it down here. Simplify the binomials times a binomial that are in this form. So now instead of both adding, this one's subtracting. M is 3, n is negative 4. let's multiply. Let's FOIL, if you will. Minus 4x plus 3x minus 12. So x squared minus x minus 12. A is the coefficient of x squared, 1. B is the coefficient of x, negative 1. C is the coefficient of the constant, sorry, which is negative 12. So how does B relate to M and N? Well, I know negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. So it's still M plus N will give us B, because 3 plus negative 4 equals negative 1. How does C relate to M and N? It's still M times N equals C. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Because 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. So without actually multiplying these, this is 7, negative 2. Let's see if we can figure out what A, B, and C are going to be. A has been 1. B has been, we add, right, these two to get that. We added these two to get that. We added these two to get that. So we add negative 7 minus 2, or sorry, positive 7 minus 2, which is 5x. And then C has been, we multiply these to get this. Multiply these to get this. Multiply these to get this. So multiply these and we get negative 14. Well, why would we use that? You can do these two on your own. I'm just going to move on to the next one. We use that because when we factor, we're actually going backwards from that experience. So now we're starting with x squared plus 8x plus 15. This came from adding the two things, and this came from multiplying those same two things. So to factor, you need two numbers that multiply to get, in this case, 8. No, sorry. Multiply to get 15, and combine to give us 8. In general, two numbers that multiply to give us C, and combine to give us B. Let's go ahead and write this out. We know it's going to look like that. And what we do is we write the factors of 15. 15 is 5 times 3 and 15 times 1. These are the numbers that multiply to get 15. Now in this list, what combines to give me 8? Well, 5 plus 3 is 8. So plus 5 plus 3. 5 plus 3 is 8. 5 times 3 is 15. And it works. Let's try number 2. I want two numbers that combine to give me 7 and multiply to give me 10. So write down the factors of 10, 2 and 5, 10 and 1. In this list, what combines to give me 7? 2 plus 5 will give me 7. In number 3, right, I want two numbers that combine to give me 2 and multiply to give me negative 24. Negative 24 is a lot of things. 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. And in this list, I want two numbers that combine, meaning add or subtract, to give me B, give me 2. I can't combine these to get 2. I can't combine these to get 2. But I can combine these to get 2. It's a positive 2, so it has to be positive 6 minus 4 will give me 2. Positive 6 minus 4 gives me 2. And positive 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. This one, you have to change that on your paper. Two numbers that multiply to get 24, combine to get 5. I already had that list, but I'll write it down again. I can't combine these, can't these, but I can these because 8 minus 3 would be 5. But 5 is negative, which means that 8 has to be negative. So negative 8 plus 3 will give me negative 5. Okay? Take a look at the next set. Now, if you take a look at this original thing, I have a G in each of the terms. G is the GCF. What we have to look at is before we factor two binomials, you need to see if there's a GCF. If there is, you need to factor it out. Then factor the binomial like we did up here. So look at this. Each of these are divisible by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and divide each term by 2 and factor that out. Minus 6x plus 5. Notice that the 2 is still part of my answer. It is still part of the answer. I've just factored it out so that I can factor this trinomial. 2 times some quantities that multiply to get 5 and combine to give me a 6. So I know 5 times 1 is 5. And then I'm going to look at this